Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Ballpark. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Moran, alongside Brennan Cunningham. Today, we're going to be going over some hot takes. We both have created 5 takes each, and we'll have the other person react to them. It's kind of early in the year. I don't know what you justify as early, but mid to late May, pretty decent. Way into the season, we've got some data to work with, some statistics to look at, as well as some trends. So we're excited to dive in. As I said before the episode, it's never a bad time for hot takes to be flying around. So before I get into that, Brendan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, year's coming to an end. I know you're already off. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, I am. High school is over, or academic career is over in high school. 4 years does fly by. It's just the oldest cliche in the book, but it's true. So
Congratulations.
that's all I got about that. You're sad to leave, but you're ready to move on.
Yeah, I'm certainly ready.
Yeah. And you said you got your baseball season winding down.
Yep.
We're trying to make the playoffs, home stretch.
Trying to get in the playoffs. Then hopefully make a run if we get there. But regular season's coming to an end. So yeah, it's exciting.
It is. High school baseball, nothing like it. Without further ado, I think we should just dive straight in. Who would like to go first?
I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
All right. Take number 1. Mike Trout will lead the American League in home runs.
Ooh. Okay. I like it. Do you want to expand or just
I think
thought process?
there's no doubt about his power. I think his power is there. And I think it really just comes down to his health. I know there is some competition. Aaron Judge and Murakami are certainly guys you're looking out for. But, he's right there. He's got 11 home runs right now. Top guy in the American League is Murakami, 17. So he's behind, but I think he can get hot at the right moments and hopefully get in there. And I'd include a Mike Trout hot take because who doesn't like Mike Trout?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my thinking. What's your thinking?
First of all, very hot take. I like it right off the rip. Mike Trout currently sitting at 11. He's in the top 10 of home run leaders, and you mentioned it. It's going to be hard to work around a Judge or a Murakami, who are both 1 and 2 on the list. Murakami's 17 homers lead at the American League, as you mentioned. Aaron Judge has the 16. You look at some of the other names. Yordan Alvarez at 15, as well as Byron Buxton and Ben Rice. Junior Caminero, Close Montgomery at 13. Shea Langoliers at 12. And then Mike Trout is at 11, making his way in the top 10. That's pretty hot because I think that it's going to be tough with, Judge and Alvarez specifically. I know that Murakami's on a heater, but he's got that swing and miss issue that was definitely prevalent as he was moving stateside. So, but regardless, he has some ridiculous power. Excuse me. And you think about Buxton and Rice, they're both having great seasons. Buxton healthy, which is great. Caminero hit 40 plus last year. It's going to be tough to work around him. Colson Montgomery, I could see flaming out a little bit, even though he's also great. Shea Langoliers is definitely a proven commodity, but I don't know. I think Mike Trout has a higher upside to get to more home runs, but just gotta stay healthy. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's pretty hot. I'll give it a B plus. I think it's pretty solidly hot because I like where your thought process is at. Mike Trout certainly has that ability, but I just think that Judge and Yordan are really going to be at the top. But I could certainly see a name like Mike Trout climbing this list with due time.
Yeah, no, I mean, Judge is he's the guy right now. I mean, nobody can really catch him in terms of past seasons. But maybe we're in for a Judge down here. Then Mike Trout can just You know, can he hit 60 home runs in a season? 50s, high 50s, something like that? Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. You're up next.
I am. I'm kind of pulling an idea that we had a couple years ago, that you were on, but
Whoa.
I think I'm drinking some Kool-Aid right now. I'm gonna I my first take: Pittsburgh Pirates top wild card seed. I think that the Pittsburgh Pirates, great team this year. I think I'm bought in to what's going on in Pittsburgh. It just seems like there's some good vibes. You got a Connor Griffin who came up, 20-year-old phenom. He's already making a significant impact for a 20-year-old. You got the Paul Skeens on the mound, and by the way, Connor Griffin, 9 years, $140 million contract to his name already. But you got the Paul Skeens of the world. You got the Bubba Chandler, the Braxton Ashcraft, and the Mitch Keller in the rotation. Jared Jones will be coming back soon. I know they're really hoping on his return. The Pirates, they had the pitching. There was definitely a pitching vision for this team. But now they're starting to get some bats rolling. And we kind of hit on it in the last episode. I think the charge ultimately is going to be led by Connor Griffin. He's going to get to that ceiling soon enough for him, which is just one of the best players in baseball at the end of the day. Ryan O'Hearn was brought in this offseason. He's a really good hitter against righties. O'Neal Cruz is going off this year, which is fantastic. He has a 790 OPS, so cooled off a little bit, but the tools are shining through nonetheless. Brian Reynolds just a really good hitter at the end of the day. They brought up the password, Jelsinson Garcia. Brennan Lau has been hitting a lot of home runs for them. Spencer Horwitz, another solid hitter like Ryan O'Hearn. I think there are enough offensive pieces here to go along with some great pitching that can take the Pirates to the promised land and ultimately get to the postseason.
I mean, I love it. I did have that take. I want to say, like, it was Paul Skeen's rookie year, so I was jumping the gun a little bit. I didn't really take into account that they didn't have any hitting back then, and now they definitely loaded up this past offseason. I think this is no doubt a decent or even good team they have right now, and I think making the playoffs is, it's a national league that is tough. There's a little, they're 3.5 games out right now, which is not ridiculous. It's not crazy. I can definitely see them getting there. I give this one on a hotness scale. I give it a B minus. I think this is definitely to make the wild card is something they could definitely do. Like you talked about, they had the pitching and the young bats and some more proven bats in their lineup. I can definitely. The teams ahead of them, the Cardinals. They're young and they're hot right now. I don't know how much I trust them. The Padres, they feel like are pretty good. Milwaukee's pretty good. And then, the Phillies is just the ones in front of them, kind of the aging core. So I can see them passing them. I can see this team getting hot, this kind of younger team. So making the wild card is definitely in their reach.
I totally agree with you. That was kind of my same thought process when pitting them against the competition. They certainly have to work away there around Chicago, right? The Cubs are still a great team. I think the Brewers ultimately get the division because the Brewers are the Brewers, and they just know how to play baseball better than everybody else. They're just smarter than the rest of the league, pretty much. So I think the Brewers win the division, meaning that the Cubs are in that pool. You mentioned the Padres, they're right there. I think those are kind of the two of the biggest threats. And then you have a team like the Phillies, who's kind of teetering on the edge a little bit. They've been playing some better ball under Don Mattingly after firing Rob Thompson, but they're certainly going to be there as well. Maybe the Mets turn it around, get into the mix, make it interesting. But I think the Pirates, like you mentioned, they're that young upstart type of energy right now, type of team, and they can certainly have a vision and grasp it if they believe it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely there. So I'll go into my second one, which is, I think, the Houston Astros will finish with the worst record in MLB.
Okay. Interesting.
Um, I'll go into this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it right now, they are. Hold on, where's the open up? They are the third worst team, so they're almost there. The teams they got to be worse than are the Colorado Rockies, who are proven losers in past years, but maybe something a little different this year. Some other guys are kind of doing some stuff, not as bad. They're not as bad. And then the Los Angeles Angels, which, as we know, are always trying to be terrible. Um,
No, they're always trying to win,
right.
but in the process, they're terrible.
I think that the thing that's hard for this thing to come true is that the Astros, I think, have the best lineup out of these two other teams. Obviously, they have Yordan Alvarez, who is one of the best hitters in the game this year so far, and I think definitely is proven to be. And there's some other guys that are kind of cold right now, and the pitching, there's some pieces there, but I just think that kind of energy in Houston right now is not good. They're definitely on a downward trend, and maybe at the deadline they sell some pieces and they're not where they want to be, and then they really start to fall. I could see that happening. So they're still. I mean, this was still a good team a few years ago. And for them to come down to last place would definitely be a shock, but it's definitely in their reach.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I definitely thought about the Astros and a worst team in baseball type of take. So I don't think that's crazy at all. I think there are certainly a lot of things that aren't going the Astros' way. There are holes to poke in this team. Like you mentioned, the lineup is great, but the pitching has kind of bottomed out. Not super great right now. So I don't think that's too crazy. I think they could definitely be down there. And it's also like you said, if they're in a spot come the trade deadline where they can ship out some pieces, I think they're going to do so. I think it's kind of the end of the Astros' reign atop the American League. And another team that you didn't mention that I'm going to throw into the pit for worst team in baseball by the end
No,
of the season.
don't say it.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say the San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
I think the Giants. There aren't enough things going right for them. I think the Giants experiment has kind of turned into a disaster right in front of our eyes. Tony Vitello not having a good time at the helm. A lot of guys are underperforming, like a Rafael Devers, a Matt Chapman, a Willie Adames. And there's not a ton of pitching there to back it up, right? Logan Webb has kind of been underperforming now that the ABS is shifting his dynamic. So I think the Giants are also down there as well. They're going to be in a seller's market, and they're going to be right there with the Rockies, Angels, Astros as well. With kind of a new wrinkle, but the Astros take is pretty good. What is kind of the barometer? Like A is being like scalding hot, or A is in like good take?
A's and this is a hot take, but there's a world where this could happen.
Okay, all right.
This is not an A. This is not an A. I'll say that.
No, I'll give it a B minus. Like, it's a decent take. Definitely Angels, I think, are in strong contention for worst team in baseball, but the Astros are certainly right there. I think they're going to be getting ready to start a new chapter of Astros baseball soon enough.
Yeah, I think what made me want to make this take is because you look at the Astros, and for years they were just dominant force in the American League, and then to fall all the way down to the last place would be crushing, and just kind of a shock.
No, yeah, 100%. It's a tough look. Next up on my list, the Braves Dodgers. I don't want to call it rivalry, but I guess it kind of is a rivalry in its own way. But it's back. And I'm saying that the Braves are better than the Dodgers right now. I'm kind of a Braves guy when it comes to this. I've always been of the belief that the Braves are better against the Dodgers in that matchup. And I think about how the Dodgers aren't. You could kind of see how they're not taking the regular season as seriously. Their goal is to be fully stocked for the postseason. They know they have the talent to get through 162, and they're kind of pacing their guys like a Glass or Snell to not throw as much, in the regular season and just be guns blazing come October. And the Braves, I think are just playing some great baseball. I think that's what they're kind of up to right now. They have the best run differential in baseball. Kind of made me think about this concept. And they're going to be getting some guys back from injury themselves. So they're playing this well, and they're not at full strength. So I think I'm in on the Braves, and I'm ready to stamp them as all the way back from kind of some down seasons.
Yeah, so hold on. I'm a little confused here. You're saying they're going to be better than the regular season? Or
They're just a better team right now.
Okay, so you're just saying they're better right now?
Yeah. Like the way that these two teams are playing. Yeah.
You did mention that the Braves are getting some guys back from injuries, and that's obvious. But I also think the Dodgers aren't at their full strength right now. I mean, you say like on the pitching side, they're not really trying as hard as they could be to win games. But I think offensively, I mean, obviously a guy like Andy Pajes is playing at MVP level right now. But Shohei Ohtani has kind of yet to pick up his season, which we all know he can. So I think he can do that. And same guy like Kyle Tucker, not having the best start, but we know what's in him to play at an all-star, at certainly all-star level. And also a guy like Mookie Betts has been injured. He hasn't played a whole lot. I mean, that's another former MVP who's still very good, I think. So there's some guys even offensively. I know the pitching is always going to be tough because, management is always going to play them how much they should. But offensively, this lineup could get better. Even if a guy like Pajes kind of slows down a little bit, there's more guys underneath that could, pick it up. So it's definitely a hot take to say the Braves are better. Right now, they definitely are better. There's a lot of guys in that lineup that are playing really good baseball right now. So it's not crazy to say that, they are the better team. And interesting to see what happens come playoff time, how that plays out. It'd be an interesting series. I know, like you said, this rivalry kind of cooled off for a couple years. And now it's kind of picking back up again, it feels like, which is always fun because those series were a good time. So I'm going to give this take, I'll give it a B+. I think saying the Braves are better than the back-to-back champions is a hot take, so I'll give it a B+.
Okay. And, it's just, and I think the Braves can kind of rise to the moment in the regular season a little bit more. They have a little bit more reason to. I think there's more pride on the line. I think the Dodgers have just accepted their spot as okay, we don't need to win 120 games. That we don't need to break this regular season win record. We know we're good. We know we're going to get there in the playoffs, and we know by then we're going to be fully locked and loaded to steamroll everybody. I think that's just their mentality at this point. And you look at what the Braves are doing, Ronald Acuna only has a 740 OPS, only 2 home runs, and his 127 at-bats. Ozzie Albies has been fantastic so far this year. He's got 8 home runs, 767 OPS, so maybe not fantastic, but he's looked a lot better than his past self. Matt Olson is one of the best first basemen in baseball. Austin Riley, I think, can pick it up. Mike Yastrzemski is certainly a nice complimentary piece. Michael Harris is performing really well. Dom Smith has been hot, so whatever that gives you. Same with Mauricio Dubon. You're just going to ride the hot hand. Drake Baldwin, I think, is a fantastic catcher, top 5 in the game. Chris Sale, Spencer Strider heading that rotation, I think is really good. And maybe the downfall of this team is that they don't have the pitching depth as much, but I think they can keep it up. I think there's reason to believe that they're going to just keep playing well, and I think they want to do that.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, moving on to my next take, my third one. Kind of a two-parter here. We're heading back to the NL Central. I have Ellie De La Cruz
Mm.
wins MVP, and the Reds make the NLCS.
Okay, so before you go any further, I had the same thing.
The exact same thing.
I had the Ellie MVP case, but I did not have the Reds making the playoffs.
I had to take it up, and I felt like that was. 'Cause I looked at the numbers.
Okay.
I'll talk about it now. If you look at the, say, the WAR for the National League, that's kind of what indicates who the MVP will be. I mean, right now it's Andy Paz 3.1. I mean, Elliot De La Cruz is, what's that, like 10 spots down at 2.2. He's playing great so far this year. He's batting, 302 with 11 home runs and 31 RBIs at a premium position like shortstop. I mean, I didn't even mention the stolen bases, which we know he can do. So he's got that for him. I think there's so much he can do on the baseball field. And, if a guy like Shohei had a little bit of a down year, that leaves the door open for some guys. And I think Elliot De La Cruz can do anything on a baseball field besides pitch. And he's just such a talented player. I feel like this is the year for him. And then for the NLCS, I don't know what's the harder part about this take, by the way. I think they're both there. Obviously, by making it to the LCS, you have to either beat the Braves, the Dodgers, which we just talked about, are playing phenomenal baseball. We know are really
This is
good
difficult to
baseball
do,
teams.
yeah.
But I like Terry Francona in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team isn't even in the wild card right now, but they're 24 and 23. They're right there, and they don't even have like a guy like Hunter Green waiting for him to come back. Which we know how good he is. I think Sal Stewart's really good. What's his name? The pitcher also for them is really good.
Nick Lodolo, is that who you're thinking of?
No, Chase.
He's also Chase Burns. Oh my
Chase
gosh,
Burns,
he's been amazing.
He's been a dog this year.
Yes.
I think he's really
Amen.
good. So I think if you have Hunter Green and Chase Burns as a 1-2 in the playoffs, I think that's better than almost anybody to compete with. So I think the NLCS is not far. I don't think they'll make the World Series, but NLCS could be doable. It have to include some upsets.
Yeah. I don't. So obviously, I don't think the Ellie MVP case is as crazy as, the NL, or as crazy as people think it is. Because I also had that. I think Ellie De La Cruz has that ceiling this year. I mean, he's hitting 300 in 189 at bats. He's got 31 RBIs, 11 homers, a 540 slug, a 364 on base, and a 903 OPS. 146 OPS plus, already 2 wins on the season. I guess is probably the best version we've seen of Ellie De La Cruz. Right, the splits aren't as big for him. I don't have his righty-lefty splits as a switch hitter up, but I know that they're not as egregious as they've been in the past. You can't attack him from a weak side. So Ellie, I definitely see it, especially as a shortstop. And in your scenario, if the Reds are making the playoffs, it's on the back of the star shortstop Ellie De La Cruz. So I certainly think that's in the cards for him. I think the Reds making the NLCS is near impossible.
Whoa.
I think it's just like you can't get through the Dodgers, you can't get through the Braves. I would probably take the Pirates over what the Reds got going.
You didn't make the playoffs?
That's my thing. I thought about it, and I don't know. Like, I had to think about that as part of my take. Like, I don't know if the Reds can make the playoffs because, for me, like, Braves, Brewers, and Dodgers won the divisions. So that's 3 teams. And then I got the Pirates as the top wildcard seed right now. And then, Padres. And then I think the Reds kind of have to go up against, or no, hold on. Pirates top wild card. Excuse me. Cubs, I think, are there as well. And then it really puts the Reds up against the Phillies and the Padres. I don't know how feasible that is for them. But if Ellie's keeping him in the conversation, I don't see a reason why he can't be an MVP, especially with, Shohei Ohtani not hitting as well. It seems like he's focusing on pitching, which I'll get to. I'll just skip ahead to my take about Ellie being the MVP because I did have a second part to that. But, I I think it's just tough for the Reds to compete with some teams with more, star power.
I think what I'm kind of basing this on is just my faith in Terry Francona.
Yeah.
And how, maybe a little biased there. I think he's a great manager. And so, I mean, they made the wild card last year. Did they do it again? I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely tough, but, I feel like we're due for a little run in the playoffs,
Yeah, I love the belief in Terry Francona. He's amazing. I don't know if he's as good at this stage in his career, but he's definitely the type of leader where he can, you know, take a team that's not as talented as far as he can, whatever that looks like. So, Ellie on the hot take, I'll go with A because I also had that. The Reds making the NLCS, I would probably go. I mean, it's baseball, so anything can happen, and I'll be nice, but I'm gonna go C minus. I don't really see that vision.
That's a killer.
Yeah, respectfully.
That's gonna hurt the GPA.
It does. So I'll just go to the other part of my take with Ellie De La Cruz because I had a two-parter on him as well. I had Ellie De La Cruz winning the MVP, but as a result, I had to put Shohei in that conversation. Shohei's losing the MVP to Ellie because it's kind of the Shohei Invitational, the MVP award. But so he loses it, but he wins the Cy Young. I think Shohei, it's like I'm kind of drinking some more Kool-Aid, and Shohei is locked in on pitching right now. He is dialed on the mound, and there just seems to be a little bit more juice for him on the mound. It seems like he enjoys pitching right now. He hasn't pitched fully in a couple of years. So just for him to, it seems like be rejuvenated in a way on the mound. I think that is what's getting him to a better place. I mean, he's got the 139 OPS plus at the plate, and that's great and all. He's got the 839 OPS, still fantastic. That the fact that we're looking at him as like that's a down year for him. 839 OPS. I mean, some players wish they could do that on their best day. But yeah, I just think Shohei could be that dude on the mound. You look at his last 5 starts, he's had 2, 3, 4. He's going up 4 earned runs across like 20 to 30 innings ish. 14, 20, 26. 30, yeah, across 32 innings in his last 5 starts. So I think Shohei's got something special cooking on the mound.
Okay, that's a little interesting. There's kind of 2 parts to that. I mean, the first part is, can he win? I mean, I think he has the talent to win. I mean, maybe a guy like Mizorowski is better than him, but maybe he can have teams better. But it's about, are the Dodgers going to let him pitch enough innings to have the counting stats compared to guys like Mizorowski and Paul Skeens and other guys like that, where the teams need them to pitch a lot, or else they're not going to win. So I just don't know if the Dodgers will let him get there. I mean, that was kind of the argument we had, or people were having before the season started, is could Yamamoto win the Cy Young? Because we knew how good he was. It's just a matter of could he play enough innings and get enough strikeouts to be in the conversation. And if that's kind of worry with Ohtani. And then, say he gets there and he wins Cy Young. I just don't know. How can he win Cy Young and not win MVP? That's my thing. Because if he wins the Cy Young, you're saying he's the best pitcher in baseball. And then if he also hits, I mean, at least like 30 home runs, and he bats 270. I mean, I don't know how that guy does not win MVP. I mean, he's doing both sides of the ball phenomenal. So that's the kind of the second part of that.
I
maybe
think
Ellie just
there's
went for a monster season.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think there's a degree of me that believes he could just go all in on pitching, let the offensive numbers dip a little bit, not where they 100% need to be, and it's gonna be tough because like he's doing both simultaneously. That's just an automatic trump card. Um, but I don't know. I'm just drunk on him winning the Cy Young, just dedicating himself fully to that. Trying to get that trophy on his mantle. Like, I think there's probably a level of him that wants to accomplish that, and I think he can absolutely get there. I mean, you're always gonna bet on an athlete like this. You're gonna bet on the makeup. You're gonna bet on the talent. Um, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I could definitely because we have seen in the past. I mean, the hitting numbers have been incredible, but the pitching was average. So that we've seen that, maybe not for the Dodgers, for like the Angels, we've seen that from him. So I could see him, like you said, going on in the pitching. The offensive numbers aren't just there to get an MVP. Um, so yeah, I mean, he definitely has enough MVPs. He could want a Cy Young for himself too. So I'll give that one the Ellie winning MVP and Otani winning Cy Young. I'll give that a B plus.
Okay. All right. All right. What's next up on your list?
Um, this one's a little interesting. I said Fernando Tatis gets traded this season.
Oh, well, trade deadline talk. Okay.
I know it's a little early for that, but I think you look at the start to his season so far, and the whole thing. He hasn't hit a home run. He's like one of the only guys who's playing He's playing a lot and has not hit a home run yet, which is very unlike Tatis. I mean, he's not having the greatest start to his season. Only batting 232, OPS of 581. He's at a negative .4 WAR right now. He's definitely not playing his best ball, and I mean, I feel like he has had his chances in San Diego, and if San Diego wants to go all in this year, they have a good squad, and if Tatis isn't getting done, they can kind of get a good haul for him. Maybe that's the move. I mean, their core is kind of aging a little bit here, and they got to make a run at some point, and maybe trading Tatis is the move. Just to maybe clear up some money too for this off season. I know they had some money problems, and then just getting something back for him that could be helpful right now or even in the future. Unless they still believe in Tatis, to kind of come back to at least an all-star level.
Yeah, that is certainly something to think about. You outlined the struggles, something to be wary of. You know, a traded though, I think that might be a little bit crazy, and that might be a little too extreme. I know they want to clear payroll. That's just kind of been their issue. They want to get money off the books, and getting Tatis's contract out of town would be huge for them. But some of the underlying metrics, they're still looking good. Just seems like something's not entirely clicking for him. His average exit velo is still in the 87th percentile. The hard hit rate, 99th percentile for him. The bat speed is still there. It's just that the chase, the whiff, the K percentage, the walk percentage are not where they need to be for a player of his caliber. So, yeah, I mean, he's been okay, and he's still got the defense out there, but yeah, you definitely gotta circle his name when it comes to the money. He's gonna be making $36 million in 2034, which is just insane. The money's only going up. He's making $20 million this year, roughly 20.7 to be exact. Then he makes $5 extra million next year, and in 2028, and then from there on out, he makes about $36.7 million until 2035, and he's a free agent in 2036 or 2035. Pardon me. So I don't know if this is a contract the Padres can move right now. Just he's performing so poorly, and maybe there's some other ones that the Padres could get off, but yeah, I'm not sold. Where do you think he could go if he were to get moved?
I haven't really thought about it.
Just
Um,
go somewhere.
yeah, I mean anywhere. I would think. I want. I mean, I want to say like a younger team that could take the hit of the money, but
Yeah.
then I don't know if that makes any sense for them. Um,
I mean, if you think of it that way, my mind first went to the Pirates, but the Pirates would not take that money on.
right.
You know.
I mean, White Sox go back. Is that
I
too
don't.
soon for them? I don't know.
I don't think the White Sox would take the money on.
Athletics. I mean, going to that new venue, you want some kind of name recognition. It's
Maybe
tough.
if
The bad
yeah.
teams right now want the big market team. So you look. Yeah.
My a thought that I had, a pipe dream, is that if this team wanted to kind of have an insurance policy, they don't have the direct spot for him, but if they wanted to do it, they could take the money on. We know they love spending money. If the New York Yankees,
Oh.
if they really were getting aggressive, balls to the wall, they said, you know what? Let's take the Tatis contract. Jazz Chisholm's gonna be out of there soon. If you wanted to put him at second, Volpe does not look like a long-term answer at the shortstop position. And Caballero, I think, is a great utility piece. That's not a slight on him. I just think that he's more of a role player rather than an everyday one. And every team wants to have a Jose Caballero on their roster. So if the Yankees really felt like that would be an impact move for them and move him back to shortstop, maybe that would be the scenario.
Yeah. No, that makes more sense. Yeah.
So, in terms of the hot take meter, though, I think that's not realistic, but it's hot, and I could certainly see it happening. AJ Preller is crazy. I'll give it a B minus. I think that's
Okay.
solid. I
All
see
right.
where your head's at again. So yeah, I don't think that's too crazy.
All
All right.
right. What's your next one?
Um, this one's similar to your Mike Trout one. It's kind of the pitching version though. If I can go back,
Okay.
Jacob Degrom, Cy Young.
Oof.
Yeah, we know Tarek Skubal's out. He's not out for the long term, but he's gonna miss some time. I forget what the injury was. I'll look it up. But Jacob DeGrom pitching to a 3.02 ERA in 9 games started, 50 and 2/3 innings, 61 Ks, and a WHIP under one at .908. He's got 1.21 or 1.2 WAR on the mound. I think in his age 37 season, he's coming off a healthy season. If we look here, yeah, 30 starts. I think if he gets there, he could absolutely be a Cy Young contender. And, it's similar to the Mike Trout one. It's just the pitcher version, like I said. So I think DeGrom could get there with Skubal, missing some starts. I want my Cy Young winner to have at least 30. So DeGrom's got to get there again in order to get the award. But I think that's in the cards. I know that's kind of crazy considering his injury bill, but I'm here to stamp it.
I mean, I love turning back the clock. To these 2010s years. That would be phenomenal. Imagine if Mike Trout and Jacob DeGrom were just at the top again. That would be insane. But yeah, like you said, it's the same argument. Is can he stay healthy? I mean, he's pitching great this year. We know he has the talent. I do think there are some guys ahead of him. I think Cam Schlittler, I hate to say it, is probably the front runner right now in the American League. He's pitching
Thought about
phenomenal.
him, yeah.
Um, like Davis Martin is having a great start to the year too. He's leading the way in terms of WARs for pitchers. But DeGrom, I would love to see it. I don't think it's that crazy. I don't. I really don't. Like you said, Screwball out for some considerable amount of time. Not going to be in the conversation. Guy like Eric Roche, that a lot of people thought I'm going to win it too, not having the best year. That door is open. Someone's got to take it, and it could be DeGrom again. I mean, that would be what, number 3 or 4 for him?
3. He's got
3.
2.
Yeah, I mean that'd be real nice to see from DeGrom. What grade do I want to give this? I didn't even think about DeGrom. I don't know why I didn't think about him. I'm gonna give this A minus. A minus.
Okay. Respected.
I like that take. I think it's all there for him.
Again, it's kind of you went to Trout, I went to DeGrom.
Right.
You know, that's kind of balanced it out there, a little yin-yang action. And I forgot to mention this. I think in the bigger conversation of the Texas Rangers, they could be making some noise. I think that's kind of a spicy conversation in its own. But it's a weak American League. There's not a lot going on. I think Texas could be heavily in the mix by the time the season is winding down. There haven't been a ton of teams that really stick out. I mean, you got Tampa, you got New York. Those are probably the 2 best teams in the American League. But, like, outside of the division winner in the Central, Cleveland is up there right now. Like, I don't think anyone else is really that impressive. Maybe Detroit, Kansas City can rebound, but they're both 20 and 27. And then, Seattle's on a slide. Texas is ahead of them in the standings. Maybe Texas can take advantage of a couple of sleeping giants. I don't want to call them giants, but sleeping postseason teams, postseason caliber teams, and get in there themselves.
Yeah. No, it's an open American League, like you said. I mean, the National League is kind of dominant right now. So there's some room. There's definitely a gap to be filled. It's who's the best team right now. I mean, I would think I would probably go with the Yankees. I know the Rays have a better record, but I think I just trust the Yankees more. So that's but that's it, really. Like you said, there's nothing really else going on. So Texas, I mean, DeGrom's Cy Young, that means they're probably doing pretty well.
I think they need a lot of things to go right, but I think some of those things can go right.
I think there are less things that need to go right than other teams. Right.
And they got a solid pitching foundation. Just get some bats going, and they can make a run. Yeah. All right, are you on your last hot take?
This is my last hot take.
Okay.
I saved my best for last.
Best for last. Okay.
Of course, it's a Red Sox one because it has to be.
Yep.
Got to include one. Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles will play each other in the wild card round.
Oh, wow.
This might be a pipe dream.
It might be.
I mean, a lot of things have to go right for this to happen. This could be a little biased. I think I don't know if I trust the Rays. I think the Rays always get off this hot start, and I don't know. I could see them falling. I know they look really good right now, but it could happen. It could happen. And then the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox just climb their way up. The Toronto kind of stays where they are, kind of lukewarm. And then they both clinch there, and then they play each other. That's the road. I think the talent's there. The talent's there. And we just talked about how this American League is open.
Yeah, it is. I'm just not super optimistic about the O's right now. I want to be optimistic as a fan. I'm always gonna watch the game. It's like the meme. Even though I'm angry, I still care. And the old grumpy guys holding the umbrella over the team logo. That sports meme, if you've ever seen that. But I just don't think there's a lot to be in love with the Orioles on my end. I can speak to the Red Sox a little bit. I saw them early in the year. I didn't think they were too impressive. I do think they've been kind of picking it up recently with Chad Tracy at the helm, and maybe they can turn it around. I mean, the pitching's been definitely getting to the point where it was expected to be, but Baltimore just I'm not in love with what the O's got going. I think they need to have some guys bounce back, and then they have to be in a spot where they're confident enough to go add at the deadline. Not saying that they won't, because they have the core. Adley's playing great. You paid Pete Alonso. You're hoping that Gunnar Henderson can get above a 700 OPS. He's sitting, mid 600s, I think, somewhere in that realm. So yeah, I mean, both these teams certainly have the upside. I just don't know if they're really gonna get there, and it's just tough to really envision that at the end of the day. So yeah, I appreciate the optimism, but
I always
think I'm
gotta
more
get
on a
optimistic.
I think I'm on a more pessimistic side.
Sure.
I hate to
Always
say
more
it.
realistic.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I don't want to be pessimistic, but yeah, the pitching woes. That's always O's pitching woes. Rhyme will rhyme there. The O's could never get any good pitching in the building, and that's quite frustrating. And then Boston. It's just there's a lot of baggage with them, so not quite sure these teams can rebound from some bad starts. So yeah, probably I'll keep the dream alive. I'll go see, but
Oh man.
yeah,
I'm getting crushed.
yeah. I'm just not in love. But it again, it's baseball. Anything can happen.
All right. Are you on
Those
your
are
last take?
Yeah. I had one. I mean, I had a backup one in case, and it kind of came in handy because we both had Ellie MVP. I'll just fly through them. I think one of them's not that hot. I think I'll just go through it real quick. Yordan Alvarez, I think, is MVP runner-up. I think he's
Okay.
just on that level of competitiveness, or he's on that level of production right now. It's been insane. I know the Astros, we talked about it, they're not that good. But regardless, I mean, Yordan is one of the best hitters in baseball. I want people to understand that. That he is just so freaking talented, and he does things that not many hitters can actually do. I mean, he's still got a 4-digit OPS at a 1.058, 314 average, 424 on base, 15 homers already. I think we mentioned him in the home runs hot take with Mike Trout. The slugging percentage is at 634. I just think that this guy is insane. He is, I would say, top 3 hitter in baseball.
Yeah. I mean that's fair to say. I think the only thing that hurts him is he's not playing the field.
Yeah.
That's kind of the trouble with the DH MVP is he only hits. But like you said, the bat's there for sure, and running up is very feasible. I mean, Aaron Judge is probably your favorite, as he always is. But yeah, it's not crazy to say that he can get there.
Yeah, and you mentioned the MVP value thing. He's got a 196 OPS plus. As a guy who's only hitting, he's got a 1.9 WAR. He's already got 2 wins essentially. That is crazy for a guy that's only swinging a bat. No defensive value.
Yeah, it's ridiculous what he's doing.
Yeah. Last one. Another team that I'm kind of buying in on. I know I've kind of talked about buying in on more teams than selling teams. Guardians, AL Central champions. I'm going to label that. Dave, it's guard ball. It's kind of a Tampa Bay Rays type of thing. Excuse me. Like, they just find their ways to win. It is what it is. I think we're getting to a point where it's just don't question the Guardians. They always know what they're doing. And they're still going to be a good team either way. They are, what is the record? Hold on. They are 26 and 22, plus 13 run differential. That's the only positive run differential in the division. 7 and 3 in their last 10. I think the pitching is great. Parker Messick has been fantastic. Excuse me. Gavin Williams, great arm, really talented. Joey Cantillo, solid as well. That's a good front three. And then, J Ram is J Ram. Stephen Kwan will probably turn it around. Chase DeLauder has come up, made a real impact. Brian Rocchio has been hot. They got some pieces on both sides of the ball. They know how to get the most out of their pitchers. The offense does its job, kind of pesky, and I think they can claim the crown over the teams like the Tigers and the Royals, who are kind of more energetic about winning. Cleveland just does their thing, guard ball.
Absolutely. I mean, this is very, very doable. I mean, a team like the Tigers not really playing up to what we thought they were going to be, and only real contention right now is the White Sox, who's young and kind of unproven. We don't know what's happening there, and unlike the Guardians, who are very, very proven, it's not ridiculous at all to say they can win this division. I would say they're the favorites right now. That's not ridiculous to say. I mean,
cool.
Like you said, J Ram, other players aren't bad. They just get it done, and that's the fact with the Guardians. Playoff success, minimal, but they're gonna win the division. And sometimes that's a lot more than other teams get. So I'll give this take a B- just because I feel like it is very achievable.
Okay, and that's all we got. Those were our hot takes. Let us know. I think there's a comment section on Spotify. So if you do listen on Spotify, you can let us know what you agree with, disagree with, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun going through some hot takes. We have a decent sample size to work with. And yeah, Brendan, any last words before we say goodbye?
No. Yeah, I think hot takes are always fun. Always fun to do. Definitely do more in the future, and I'd love to hear some more.
For sure. There's never a bad time for hot takes. It's kind of the motto on the hot stove. So that's what we got on this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and with that, we'll see you next time.